Welcome to the Apartment Guys, where we dive deep into all things multifamily investing. Our mission is to educate, inspire, and empower real estate investors to reach their highest potential. Each week, host Tate Seamer interviews high-level guests from all over the industry who are sure to bring valuable, actionable ideas that will propel your career to the next level. Whether you're just starting out or a seasoned investor, you are in the right place. And now your host, the Apartment Guy, Tate Seamer.
Underwriting deals is such a major pain point for people. Most don't want to do it, and the people that are good at it are few and far between. That is why after 6 years of being in the industry and buying over 1,200 apartments, using my best-selling multifamily deal analyzer, I created Real Estate Lab, a full suite acquisition software for multifamily investors. We have built a product that helps investors automate their acquisitions and close more deals, all in a cloud-based platform. You can go to realestatelab.com and sign up today using the promo code TAG2 for 10% off your first 12 months. This is David Tupin. Thanks for listening.
Welcome everybody back. Another episode of the Apartment Guys podcast coming at you. And as it is now, every week, I'm joined by my trusted partner and colleague and friend, Chelsea Garber. Chelsea, awesome to have you.
Thank you for having me on an ongoing basis. It's great to be a part of your oh so popular podcast. I'm really honored, truthfully.
Well, you add a lot, and you add so much that we might even be changing the name of the podcast. Stay tuned for that, because Apartment Guys doesn't really fit anymore with Chelsea being a regular fixture here. But we have something really valuable that we want to share with you guys today. And I think it's a game-changing item in your business that can really move the needle, like I like to say, in conversations, especially with brokers and investors, people that are looking to do business with you. And this tool is really like kind of a secret weapon that a lot of your competition won't have, or maybe doesn't do a great job with. And if you really dig into this episode and take notes and do some of the takeaways that we'll be offering you, you'll be way ahead of where you otherwise would be in your conversations. So for context, when you're building broker relationships and you're trying to get in front of them and you're trying to either do coffee or lunch or ideally tour properties, that's really what you want to be spending your time with brokers doing. There's that whole getting to know you stuff, and where are you from and what do you do for fun and all that good stuff. And what we have is in order to kind of enhance that conversation is a credibility kit. And you can kind of see it if you're watching the YouTube video. My green screen's not very friendly here, but basically this credibility kit is a brochure, and we printed it in an 8x10 format. A lot of people just do an 8.5x11, but you can do something creative if you want. And it's a company profile brochure, right? So it's really designed to share with the viewer or the reader everything about you, why you are a great operator, why they should work with you, why they should trust you, etc. So we put this together with the help originally of Mr. Corey Peterson, the big kahuna himself. We were in a mastermind with him, a coaching mastermind, and he actually, part of the coaching mastermind was to actually design one of these for us. And we're just going to go through and basically share with you kind of why we do what we do with the credibility kit, how we do it, and the impact that it has on our business. So Chelsea, the first section, as you know, is just an overview of Greenlight, what we do, where we're located, where we invest, And then it talks about multifamily real estate and talks about our strategy in general. So it talks about why invest in real estate and strategy and how we do it. So Chelsea, you want to share a little bit about kind of just a brief, what, the whys, so to speak, of multifamily?
Yeah, I mean, I think this really acts as sort of the cover page to your credibility kit, and it's going to get people familiar, whether Tate mentioned before, it's a broker, an investor, potentially it's a trade partner that you're working with. This kind of just high level overview outlines who you are, what your mission is, what you're looking to do, and just makes it very clear, and it gets people on the same page to, as far as, what your intentions are. So with that being said, we kind of do a quick first page overview, as Tate said, with, who we are, talk about where you're located, what type of properties you're buying, where are you buying them, what is your general business plan. It, kind of vague, doesn't need to get too specific, but this gives, an initial feel for your company. Definitely want to go into why multifamily real estate, and we all know there's a lot of reasons why, so this is a great area to highlight a couple of them, especially now, as there's a lot of gloom and doom on rising interest rates and potential correction or recession. This is a good opportunity to talk about why multifamily real estate, it's not recession proof, but we like to say recession resistant.
Right.
Typically withstands recessions far better than most other assets, largely because you're locking in fixed long-term debt and rents continue to increase year over year regardless. So anyways, this is a good place to highlight why real estate. And then lastly, your strategy. What are you doing here? Maybe not that you have to reinvent the wheel, saying differently, but what is it that you're targeting? How are you going after it? What's your differentiating factor within your company that maybe is not within somebody else's, like your superpowers? And yeah, again, this is a one pager, and it might be the most important page in the pamphlet, because it sets the stage for who you are and what you're doing.
Yeah. And right from the strategy section, I'll read you one of our key points, which is our strategy is to smartly and patiently acquire, manage, and operate stabilized multifamily assets that generate high yield, passive cash flows, and also have a value add component. So right there in that sentence says an awful lot about we're patient, we're smart, we don't say conservative, but we are conservative in our underwriting and in our targets for what we're trying to do in our business plan. And so again, you're just painting the picture for the broker, and I'll just keep using broker because that's the situation that I've used this tool in most, is our broker relationships. And let me tell you something, just by having a printed, and you want to get these printed and you want to have them professionally graphically designed. Fiverr or Upwork can do that for you. You can find good people there, good graphic designers there to put this together for you. And just pulling this out with that has your logo on it and has your portfolio on it and your team and all those pieces is something that really raises the eyebrows of a lot of brokers. They are very impressed by the fact that you have something like that and that you are putting it in front of them, because they don't see that very often. So I've had brokers that are just kind of, we're talking, getting to know each other, and I pull out the credibility kit and they're like, whoa, all right, let's talk. Like, you can kind of tell they take you seriously at a little different level. So
just a thought too, to add to that,
Yeah.
Tate, really quickly, sorry to cut you off, that we haven't done this, but thinking out loud, if you're going into a new market and developing relationships with brokers, and let's say, you get somebody on the phone, immediately write them a thank you card. And
Yep.
along with that, send them a copy of your credibility kit.
There you
That
go.
is going to get you a next call and a deal.
Yep.
And you're going to get some deals.
And even better yet, overnight it. Like, that'll really get their attention if you overnight it to them. So Page 2 in our credibility kit is our deal criteria. So it tells what we're looking for in properties and assets. And in our case, we're looking at anything between about $1 million and $30 million in transaction size, minimum of at least 75 units. And we really we're moving into more of a B class, A class environment. We originally, when we started, we were looking primarily for C class value add. And so as we've kind of grown and expanded, we've really kind of tried to move up in asset class for a number of reasons. But so that's in there. Occupancy is in there. The age of the property is in there. Your target market's in there. What type of location do you like? Do you like an A location, a B location? We talk about the minimum cap rate, in-place cap rate that we'll buy for. We talk about our target returns and how long the investment lasts, which is typically 3 to 7 years in our case. And then we talk about just general criteria, value add opportunities. We prefer individually metered units. We prefer pitched roofs, stuff like that. So again, the more specific you are, the more of an expert it presents you as, and the more that a broker knows what to look for in properties for you. Then we talk on the next page, on page 3, about how an organizational chart is structured. So in other words, how passive investors fit into our structure. We do a syndication model. So there's 2 entities. There's an A class and a B class entity, which passive investors and active investors think are the general partnership and the limited partnership. Then there's the property. And then there's also a third entity that manages the group. And I don't want to deep dive too much into this, but in our credibility kit, which, by the way, this is a big takeaway, email us and we will send to you our credibility kit. Huge, huge thing. And you can use it and basically as a template and make your own. So email us at Tate at glequitygroup.com or Chelsea at glequitygroup.com. And we'll be sure to get you a PDF copy of our credibility kit. So, and then we talk about our formula for cash flow on page 4. Again, not to deep dive too much into this, but we have our acquisition process outlined. We have our due diligence audit process outlined. We have our asset management process outlined. And then we have our investor return process outlined as well. So that's all on page 4. And then is the fun page, the team page, your executive team. Who's on your team? So Chelsea, who's on our team, and why is it important that we have them on here?
Yeah. So, well, there's 2 things. We have we can have our executive team and our portfolio. So
right. That's right.
In either order, getting to know the team on a more personal level. So get a quick overview, paragraph or so, who you are, what your position is within your organization, absolutely have your email address, phone number, and just kind of highlight your career and what you're bringing to the table and how that could potentially transition into multifamily. So especially if you're new to multifamily, which most people are as they're putting together this credibility kit, that this is showing that you have prior experience that can be applicable to multifamily, and highlight that. You can write in here, I think also that we love to do in the last line is just write something personable, like,
yep.
What do you like to do for fun?
Yep.
When people read this, they want to get to know you and not just
Yep.
see a name and, a face and a bunch of text. So this is what can really help you set yourself, aside from somebody else. And definitely form a closer relationship with the brokers you're working with. So in our team, we have of course, 3 general partners, and then we have our kind of what we consider our 4th honorary member, who is our KP and sponsor, who I would say comes on to about most of our acquisitions. So it's great to have that person in there, especially if you have not done a deal or maybe you've just done your first one, because you're really going to lean on this KP/sponsor to bring a lot of their credibility to your credibility packet. So it's absolutely imperative that you first ask them that it's okay, but ask them to, how do you leverage their experience here in your package? And, in the beginning, when we were first getting started and we didn't have, 6 or 7 communities under our belt, we really leaned a lot on our sponsor and his experience. So that kind of takes us back to your multifamily portfolio, just like an asset review, which is just a general list, line items with photos of the name of the asset, how many units, when was it acquired, what was the purchase price, CapEx budget. And this kind of just gives people an idea of, okay, these are the types of deals you're doing. These are the sizes, these are the locations, and they'll really get a feel rather quickly for where you're investing and why you're investing there. Just, again, really adding an additional layer of credibility to the kit. So I think this is ultra important because most people want to know that you've done some deals. And if you haven't, it's okay because your sponsor has.
Right. Yeah. Excellent point. So when we first got started, we had not done any deals yet. And Corey Peterson was generous enough, as being a part of his mastermind and also trusting us. He was generous enough to say, I'll be on your executive team. And so we put him in our credibility kit as an executive board member, essentially executive team member. And we used his portfolio to show our experience. And that's not in any way dishonest, because had we worked with Corey, which we didn't end up actually doing deals with Corey, but at the time, had we gotten deals, Corey would have been our guy. So like Chelsea said, with our current sponsor, when we were still new and only had a couple of deals, we were able to use his portfolio in our credibility kit to produce leverage. And again, like your net worth, your liquidity, and your resume, your experience are the 3 things that a lender looks at. So that's what you need when you go to get a loan. And they're really going to be 3 things that a broker will look at when they evaluate, is this somebody that could get a deal closed? And is this somebody that is worth going under contract with? So that's huge, Chelsea. And I'm glad you brought that up. Leveraging other people's experience, right? This is one of the beautiful things about multifamily is leverage. And whether you're leveraging somebody's experience, other people's money, other people's time, even efforts, like that's the magic in this space. Is it's a team sport. And so everybody's working together and kind of leveraging each other, right? Like your sponsor's leveraging you because you're going out and finding deals for them and they get to participate in them. So they're leveraging your efforts and your hustle, so to speak, and you're leveraging them. So it's a symbiotic relationship, and it's mutually beneficial in that way. So on that, go
I will
ahead,
also
Chelsea.
maybe add just one more thing, Tate, is that the first version of your credibility kit and 6 months or a year later version of your credibility kit might be 2 very different things. And
That's right.
I think most importantly is just to start somewhere and get in all of the major items, the important items. And then as you continue to grow, your credibility kit will evolve. You'll probably have better, clear direction of where your company's going. You might change your strategy a little. Your portfolio is going to grow. You might add partners or lose partners. So don't be afraid that this is like the one and done and spend the next 6 months working on it. Like just get something together and continue to improve upon it. I mean, ours is always continuing to improve. I'd say every 3 months or so, we update it and tweak things and print new copies and, just continue to carry it around with us when we go to our markets.
And you want to have these professionally printed on, we use glossy paper, kind of a thicker stock, and you want them to look really nice. So ours is stapled. So it's a bound pamphlet basically, and really easy to read and use. So you take these to conferences with you, you take them to meetup group meetings with you, you take them to broker meetings, you take them to investor meetings, and they will change the game for you. I promise. So here's your takeaway action item list, listeners. Get a copy of somebody's credibility kit and ask around and maybe get more than one and get some ideas. I said earlier that email us and we will gladly send you a copy of ours. And that again is Tate at GL Equity Group or Chelsea at GL Equity Group. And so you're going to get a credibility kit from someone, and then you're going to use that as a template. You're just going to rip it off, right? Like no big deal. Like imitation's the best form of flattery. So if you guys want to rip our credibility kit off, go for it. And just don't use any of the team members or portfolio pieces. That's how you're going to develop your own credibility kit. And then you're going to have it laid out and designed by a graphic designer. You can hire graphic designers for $10 an hour on Fiverr and Upwork, or sometimes more and sometimes even less, but you want to hire a pro, in my opinion, to do this because it says everything about you. It's your presentation. And basically, with that, you're off and rolling. And then you go have it printed, of course, once it's designed, and you have the secret weapon in your stash to go slay some dragons and do some business. So with that, excuse me, Chelsea, you have anything else to add?
No, I think just emphasizing the importance. And I know when I joined Greenlight, this was something that you had done and I had previously not done. And I was really kind of blown away by it and just how professional it was and how well he presented. And I think it's an absolute must. Like everybody needs to have a credibility kit, like no questions asked.
Yeah. So it's super important when you're getting started. Like it's one of the first things you want to do. And if you're 15 years into this, you still should have a credibility kit, and it's going to be awesome because you're going to have a big portfolio and, your team's going to look amazing and you can speak very authoritatively, so to speak, with people about the business. So with that, listeners, we'll thank you for listening to another episode of the Apartment Guys. Chelsea and I do these kind of short and sweet episodes where we discuss strategy and like really actionable things that you can do. And of course, we have our kind of regular episode of the Apartment Guys where I host a guest every week and a high-level guest that we interview. And we're going to keep doing those as well. So thank you all for listening, and we'll catch you on the next Apartment Guys podcast. Take care, everybody.
Thanks for listening to The Apartment Guys with Tate Seamer. Tate and friends are grateful to have you as a loyal listener. If you like what you've heard, please subscribe, rate, review, and share with friends on your Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, or any other podcast platform. Also, check out Tate's YouTube channel for videos of many of these episodes and more. Until next time, take massive action steps and rock on.